All right. So, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Good, I hope.
Yeah.
Much better week since we changed class a little bit. Just doing what I can for work-life balance, I guess.
How many classes are you teaching?
Well,
Oh, is it just all three of these?
I mean, I get paid to teach 3 classes right now. One is at a different college, but this class is 2 classes. Actually, this is kind of annoying, but my Woodbury class, which is in Burbank, it's Monday, Wednesday at 9 a.m. And so like I've been driving home to Riverside after this class and then going to sleep and then waking up at 6 a.m. and going to Burbank. Ooh. So I'm just getting an Airbnb tonight. So like I'm not doing that anymore.
Oh, wow.
I'm not doing that anymore. Okay, so advanced. I will say, one, if we can all be on time. And you're not, everyone was late. No, no, I'm not kidding you. Everyone but like 2 people were late. So I'm just saying we can be on time because we just vamped for like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying. Anyway, and also it helps that both classes are there because of, I'll say this more later, but we just need to be on time. Is it warm in here? Okay, I'm just boiling. Okay, advanced. On Canvas, I'm not doing this in person because I already made the video, right? I have your lecture on what to do with your hem tape, okay? So this is like the flexi hem tape, right? And if I open it, but it's not flexi, is it flexi? I guess it is flexi. I don't think of it as flexi, but. Well, this is gonna be for hemming the body of your fabric this is for hemming the body of your fabric, okay? So there's going to be a lecture on this. There's also going to be a lecture, and it's very much like what we did for that narrow finish where we do like the little basting stitch. For your lining, we're also going to be doing the other hem where you basically do the basting stitch and then you iron it on the basting stitch and then you fold it again and iron it again. Okay, I'm going to be doing it in class today, kind of, but there's a video for that on Canvas. Okay, so I'm not going to be doing, unless we have time for it, which I don't think we will today. I don't think I'm going to be doing like the let's hand sew together part for the hem. Okay, because that will be on Canvas in this module. Yeah. So today, what we're going to be doing, we are sewing the lining to the zipper, or the zipper to the lining, whatever, either way. We are doing the vent, and we are going to do, I guess we are going to do the hem in person. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today. And then, yeah, that's going to be it. And the vent's a pretty big deal, so. So you're welcome to either, come around me. You can also just watch there if you want. So you have some options, okay? So
And is this being, sorry, I know you probably said it, this is
No.
all being filmed, like all your
yeah, we're recording.
recorded.
We're recording.
Okay.
Sorry, it took me a little bit of time to get the videos up last week.
I was freaking out that I missed the vents on the first day and I'm like, do I go for it?
Oh God, no.
Yeah, so I was like, I need to just focus on the words I'm seeing and I don't see any vents, so.
Why?
Help though, someone can like fit me. It's still too big.
Really?
Yeah, like I fit me.
It's too big?
Well, yeah, I fit myself and I had a friend do it and she's like a textile designer. Like she just does not like, I come on. So I added to my pattern, put some tissue, and I really think that the whole original pattern would have actually fit me.
Oh,
Yeah, so I just have to take apart the waistband a little bit
Okay,
Switching,
so
facing.
some things that I've done already. I did cut this, I cut my length because even though my mom is so frustrating about this, you know, I decided, well, I might as well make it the length she wants, right?
Because she can be, she has you, that's why.
This is also why I never sew for her. I was like, yep, this proves it for me. And I think she maybe thinks this is like opening the floodgates. I'm like, no, these are very closed floodgates. So I will say, since I did I cut this, I want to make sure I go back in and backstitch all my seams. Does that make sense? Because I cut it, right? So the backstitching is gone. Does that make sense to us? So make sure my side seams, that's what I'm specifically backstitching right now. My mom is also someone that buys like a new garment at Ross like 3 times a week and then asks me to like tailor it for her.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna spend all this time on a garment that costs me $7. Absolutely not.
Yeah, my mom takes my daughter's stuff to get hemmed because I won't do it, because I'll send my stuff out to get hemmed.
And then she'll be like, how would I do this? You know, when she wants to fix something and I'll tell her. She's like, can you show me? I'm like, no. It might sound mean, but like, I'm not a dressmaker. I mean, I am, but like, that's not what
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I sew to make cool art. I don't sew like for that.
Take us a little bit more serious, like we do more than that. My mom to be like, I took CAD, like my brother's an engineer, he took CAD, like I understood.
What are you talking about? That's so, right? We're good. No, it didn't. So I've now fixed all my little seams here. Good for me. Last thing I want to fix that I told you to do last week, just because, you know, I wasn't looking. Or vents. Last week,
Dude, this is amazing.
right?
Oh my God.
I know, it's super cool.
Is that what you use at home, the red thing? Or
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean,
was wondering
yeah.
what I should do for myself.
Okay.
Because I'm
So the vent last week, I had you sew it like all the way to the end here. Okay. And that's not correct because you need your seam allowance. You need the amount of seam allowance here. So I need 5/8 here. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and seam rip this out and then I'll re-backstitch that. Does that make sense? And then alterations, if you ever have a question, just come up and like you can interrupt me.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Because I'm probably just gonna be lecturing the whole time and it's just makes more sense if you just.
Just do it right then.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm staying in Burbank with a nice woman named Gladys tonight. Let's see how that goes.
But you're gonna be with the lady?
It's just someone's house. I'm just staying in a room at someone's house.
I was gonna ask you where you found
All the
it.
suites or like anything like, like a guest house or whatever,
Mhm.
or like a whole apartment, it's like $200.
No,
Gladys was like, yeah, you can have a room for 75. I was like, okay, Gladys.
why are you up in the area? Why are you up in the area?
Because I got a teaching job in Burbank.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I was like, yeah, Burbank's not a problem. I drove there the whole pandemic. But the thing was, I didn't drive there at 9 a.m. the whole
It's
pandemic.
like traffic.
I was
too.
thinking about doing an Airbnb before I go to Long Beach, when I start going up there, like stay somewhere and then go be there in the morning from school.
By the way, you see how I have trimmed to the pink line?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna backstitch right here, okay? And then we can continue. And
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so I got lost.
Just go
No,
back.
tables are- Yeah, you just go a little bit straight and it'll be to that. Don't go too far straight.
Okay, I'll be right back.
now what I'm gonna do, like I said, I'm just gonna backstitch. I think this needle is slightly off center. Too far. Go ahead and trim all my threads. I think I can probably zoom in more. It was pretty funny when I was meeting with Barbara to go over like how the system works, right? The camera system. They're like, well, if you want, like, we can just come early and pre-film everything. I was like, this is what I'm trying to get away from. She like kept mentioning it. I was like, Barbara, we are not doing that. That is not what we are doing. Okay. So now that I want to do my zipper, also I'm getting all these like strays, which is annoying. This is the one case, like I didn't think this fabric was gonna ravel so much. This is one case where like, yeah, had I overlocked this seam allowance, my life would be better. So you might want to test on how badly your fabric ravels, just because these little yarns really get in your way. Does that make sense, everyone? So generally, like if it doesn't ravel, there's no real need to overlock this. But in this case, I'm just intensely annoyed. Also, if you don't want to overlock, you can do a zigzag stitch. I don't like the zigzag stitch as a finish, like as a fine finish. But in this instance, it would just be to prevent raveling. Does that make sense? And you wouldn't see it. And it's a little flatter than an overlock. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure my zipper is all the way down. We also see, do you want me to go to zoom in a little bit more? Let's try it. So I'm going to put my lining and my facing. This is what I want, right? Inside. This is going to serve this. I'm flipping my lining and my facing. So I want to flip in my lining and my facing like so, right? And I'm folding it right along that seam line, okay? Right where the facing meets the fashion fabric. I'm folding it down there. And I'm lining it up with my zipper tape, okay? Like so. Okay, my visible range is over here, I'm sorry. So you can see right here, this is where my facing meets my fashion fabric, right? Folding it right there. And then I want to align it with my zipper tape. Yes? You track that? Just be patient with each side while, we figure this out. This whole like video setup, I think it'll be fine, but I'm just saying. Yeah. Yeah. We were working until like the very almost class was beginning. There was like a bunch of the cameras were all frozen and nothing was working. I was like, well, my phone is dead, so I'm not gonna be able to film for you all tonight. Sorry. I'm like, "Oh, fine." And I do, even though I'm not someone that pins a lot, when it comes to like linings and stuff, it moves a lot, right? So I'm not really in the mood to test that. Does that make sense? I'm just trying to get this. And then if we like, we go ahead and so my zipper is about right here. So I'm pretty much just gonna sew from next to my zipper, or like where my zipper more or less ends, right? Or a little below it, if I can. And go a little below it, start a little below where my zipper starts, and I'm just gonna use my my zipper foot, my like actual zipper foot, and just sew all the way up. Okay. And then of course, anytime I put a cording foot in a thing, zipper slash cording foot in place. Starting just a little below where my zipper stop is, okay? At a normal stitch, okay? And if you don't hit, you know, I'm gonna go close to the zip. You can go right up on that zip. It doesn't, I'm not too worried about it. If you're sewing even like at a 1/4 inch seam allowance or 3/8, that's fine. You don't really need to hit 1/2 inch. No, no, no. But I am kind of just trying to line up my zipper foot, kind of, you know, with the side of the coil. You want to make sure where you've the corner essentially, you want to make sure you have a pretty tight fold, so that way, you know, it doesn't misshape. So what I mean is, when I originally pinned the top, where I folded over the facing to the fashion fabric, you want to make sure it's nice and tightly folded over, not like loose. You want to make sure it's really on that seam. Okay. So now I've done one side. I can go ahead and trim my allowances.
You want like this front to be like perfectly.
You just want to make sure you like really nicely. I'm not sure how else to say that. Like, I do the other side. Like, if I just kind of lazily did that, not great. I want to make sure I like really pinch it so it you'll feel it. You'll feel where it wants to kind of settle. Okay. You want to make sure you like put pressure on it. And now I'm just going to pin the other side. Anyone do anything cool this week?
I went to a festival over the weekend. It was fun. It was in Paris.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like super surprised. It was called Same Same But Different. It's the second year. I saw Closey and like big gigantic. Bought the tickets like 5 months ago. So made sure I sewed all this shit before I left because I would not have time. But yeah, Paris, like California. Yeah, I know, I wish.
I know, I was like, oh, Paris, France,
Yeah,
nice.
no, I don't have
Okay.
money or time. But
PERRIS.
yes, yeah, Lake Elsinore.
Got
Lake
it.
Elsinore Lake. And it's the second year, and I really recommend going next year because you're by the lake and there's like camping grounds, good bathrooms, and at nighttime was just magical. They made like a gazebo with like that cotton clouds and lights and swings and bamboo sticks, all like, you know, neon lights, black lights. Show you pictures. I danced with fire, but I couldn't do that there. And all my friends had these like cool LED poi and fans. And I was just like, I put glow sticks online. It's so gay. But I did it, and I did it, and I danced.
Okay, so now I have pinned my other side. I'm going to go ahead. Here. So I pinned my other side, as you can see. Right, notice I have, it's really nice and tight up here. I feel it perfectly folded. And so, oh, one other thing I want to mention is where I stopped sewing on the opposite side of my lining, on the other side of the zipper tape, that's where I want to stop sewing on this side, if that makes sense. So I might even check just kind of where that is. Stitching line is right there. And I want to stop sewing essentially over here. I just can make a mark if I want to or something like that. Same thing goes for when you sew the zipper onto the fashion fabric originally. I didn't really emphasize that, but you want it to be the same. You want to stop at the same places. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Like when you sew down the zipper tape near the bottom, you want to make sure that you're ending at the same spot. It's not like a deal breaker. It's not great. Can you all see okay? What a cool setup, huh?
It is.
I was like, we get to keep these forever, right? And they're like, yeah, IT put like in so much work to do this, they are never taking these out. Okay.
I'm having a space, but like, the zipper feet are in the inside, right? Like your stitch line and then the zipper feet.
Yeah, my little stitch hole, it's
Uh-huh.
right up along the coil. Did everyone catch the Met Gala? You like it? It's always controversial.
I like last year's.
2018 so much. Oh my god, there's so many good outfits that year. And like this year, like none of it compares.
I don't know,
I
yeah.
like some, but like.
There
most
were,
of
like-
them, no.
There were like 2 or 3 that I was like, oh, that's like really cool. There's 2 actresses from Euphoria that they both looked great. There was one girl, she had like a beaded like pearl dress,
Ooh.
and like her neck was
Oh, I
like
saw that.
connected to the dress.
Yeah.
And like that was really cool. But like that was the only one that like
Is it usually like more costume based or is it usually like more formal, like?
It's usually like formal costumes.
formal costume? Okay, okay.
I like the camp.
Yeah, that one was cool.
yeah.
And now I can clip my threads. And we're gonna leave the zip alone for a minute. And we're going to move on to our vent, okay? Now, this is gonna be a little confusing because you need to make sure, like I'm gonna kind of flip the lining up here, like so it's away from here, okay? You're gonna wanna make sure that you're working on the correct side, because once you've sewn the zipper, it might be easy to think, because with the zipper this way, it looks like, oh, I sew my vent on this side over here. That's not correct, okay? In this instance, if I was doing that, I'd be going with like the path of least resistance, but I'd be sewing it to the opposite side. So see how I have it's like, you know, my lining is showing up here, but can you notice? Let's see. Can you notice that the seam allowance is like the other seam allowance is right here? You see that? So I need to sew my vent. This piece of lining is actually sewing to the other side, okay? Because it might look like it, but I'm not sure if I'm explaining this right. So there's like arm. Let me go to the dot cam real fast. So you see my seam, right? Oops, right here, right here. You see my seam, right? Okay. So if I were to just go along this way and sew it on this side over, oh my God, I can't even see because of the screen. Hold on. This is here. Okay. Okay. And how do I turn the light off? Okay. So I finished sewing over here. And then and to be clear, look, the other seam allowance is down here, right? So this is the other side. But it just might look from where we are right now, like I'm just supposed to sew it on this side of the fabric. That's not true. Because look, you can see the other seam allowance right here. This is the other side. So it's just that we need to reorient ourselves after we've stitched there. So that way we're working on the correct side. Do you see how now it's this lining, this seam allowance, and now they're on the same side as each other? Yeah, does that track? Okay. Now we also have to keep in mind right sides to right sides. So I'm not sewing it like this because this would be wrong side to wrong side. Okay, I'm not sewing it like this. That'd be wrong side to wrong side. I need to, this is gonna be a little annoying if you only have this little stitch seam allowance kind of opening to work with, but I need to face them together. And I'm gonna sew down first. Now, I almost did something so awful. I need to hem this. You need to hem your lining first, okay? So essentially before you sew in, well, more or less before you sew in your lining to your zipper, you need to figure out your hem length, okay? Because I have to, for the most part, I have to hem my lining right now, okay? So let's just go ahead and do that. And what I'm gonna do, Cassidy's checking in. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So I'm gonna go to a big stitch. So a basting stitch, right? I am gonna change my foot because this foot will drive me bonkers if I try to actually sew real seams with it. Hello? Oh, it's fine. There we go. Good. And whatever I do a 1/2 inch for this. I like a 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna baste at a 1/2 inch. I'm just gonna sew all the way down along my 1/2 inch. I'm doing just like a machine hem. What do I call this? It's just like a fold over hem, essentially, but it's folded twice and it's top stitched. So I'm just sewing at whatever my hem amount is, which for me is a 1/2 inch. And I suggest you do a 1/2 inch as well. But I wouldn't do less. It's cheap if you do less. I think it's weird if you do like an inch. You kind of do whatever you want, but 1/2 inch is what I recommend. Okay, so I have now sewn all And again, I did a basting stitch, right? Oh, the tension did kind of crinkle a little bit, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Smooth it out. You know, crinkly too. There we go. Now I'm going to take it over the iron. Oh, this one. So cool, right? I know, right? That was like my money maker moment. Okay. Now we want to fold it up on the wrong side. Okay, so I have my seam allowances facing me. I'm going to fold it up along my wrong side. If it's still not laying flat, you just kind of run an iron over it a little bit. I forgot to ask, I'm hoping Gladys doesn't have cats. I'm allergic to cats. But even if I am, I'd rather sleep, 8 hours with a cat than try a maddening amount in morning LA traffic. Cool thing is, my new boss was like, "Oh, okay, we'll just schedule you differently next semester." Okay, I won't quit on you. Not that you knew that was potentially happening. I would probably never quit like that, but I was thinking about it.
Yeah, definitely something to think about.
Right. Health comes first, everyone. So, as you can see, I'm ironing. I want to continue to iron. And I'm just folding it along that basting stitch. That's what the basting stitch does. It gives you essentially a perfect guide for where you are ironing. Or like you accidentally make some creases. Pull them out. Go ahead. Put it up. I'm going to flip it up one more time. Or sorry, I'm going to continue over here. Ta-da. Okay, now I'm going to flip it up one more time. And I'm just going to use the folded edge, or the cut edge, I should say, as my guide. So I'm just kind of folding it up. And the best advice I have is you'll feel it. You'll feel where it wants to sit. Feel where it wants to sit. Not giving it back.
So you folded half an inch up and then you're folding again, how much?
I'm folding it along the cut edge. So it's essentially also a half. So you'll feel where it wants to kind of hold up. You'll feel the resistance. If you can tell, I'm not using a lot of, like it's not taxing me to be like, oh, where exactly is this folding? It's just kind of helping me. Now I've done that. Okay. Now you can knit, but you don't really need to. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to stitch it on the fashion fabrics or the face side, right? So I don't want to see my seam allowances. I'm going to go back to a normal stitch. And I'm going to clip these basting threads just because they're kind of. Thank you. I'm not used to it yet.
Oh, no.
No,
We'll
thanks
see you
thanks for
later.
the, I think I'm probably like here. I think I need to go up a little bit more. I think that's probably. So. We're working on the face side, right? I can't see my seam allowance, I only see my seam, yeah? And my hem that I pressed up is not facing, right? It's on the other side. Yeah? Okay, so from here, what I want to do is I don't want to worry about so much like the edge, the top edge of this fold. I want to worry about keeping the stitching line parallel with the folded edge down here. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? So I'm going to, now usually the way this works out for me is that even, it's like double folded. You all see that? That it's double folded. So usually if you stitch at either exactly what your turnover was, half an inch, sometimes you may not catch it just because of the way that you did it. Usually for me, it works out perfectly when I stitched it at that. But if you want to, you could stitch it at slightly less. You could just have your fabric like a little bit off from the half inch, so it's a little less. Or you could, I don't know if I recommend 3/8 per se, but just slightly, like a sliver off. What's that? This one. Because this is the pretty side. This is the face side. So you always want to sew on the face side. Because otherwise this side, like just the stitching quality could be off, you know? The stitching quality could be with the bottom side doesn't always look so good. So oops. Now you do want to check if you missed something. I did miss a part. It's kind of twisting on me, so. I mean, that's the reason why you want to make sure your folds are accurate. I was kind of going pretty quickly, but you could just sew it at a slightly lower amount. So like maybe 3/8 would be ideal for you. You know what I mean? You might want to measure it too before you sew. I'm not going to do it right now, but I could take out that original stitching line that doesn't work later. And then also, I'm not going to do this right now, but you could take out that basting line of stitching if you really wanted to. Okay. So anyway, now I have this done. I am going to press it. I'm not going to move the camera from pressing it, but all I'm doing is just flattening it with the iron, the new hem that I set. Now I have my lovely, hem. Yeah. You all see my little hemmy. So my hem is done. Now I can go ahead and see what time is it. 6:57. Okay. So once again, make sure you're on the correct side. So make sure you have the correct lining side to the correct garment side. And I'm going to sew essentially the sides, the vertical. I'm going to sew the sides of the back. Okay. I'm not sewing the little diagonal bit right here. I'm not sewing. There we go. I'm not sewing, the little part right here. I'm sewing down this way. So the hem is in this hand. Right here, this is my hem down here. So I'm sewing along this edge. Okay. So just check yourself before you do anything silly. Okay. All right, sides together. And I'm going to sew, the reason I had to do the lining was because I'm going to sew these pieces together. So I need the lining secured before I sew it into here. Does that make sense? Yeah, we're not doing the actual skirt hem today. And lastly, I want to make sure so that. So yeah, I only really want to sew. I only really want to start sewing where essentially I want to start sewing 5/8 down, is what I'm saying, from the top. So go ahead and mark that as in whatever way that you need to. And you need to make sure that the other seam allowance back here is pushed all the way back. So if you want to put a pin where 5/8 is, and then make sure the pin kind of holds that seam allowance back, then that's great. And now I'm ready to stitch here. Yeah, what's up? It's because you need to be able to, you want some flexibility with the seam allowances above it. Yeah, I don't want to trap the seam allowance. That's essentially why. They're claiming that's 5/8. I don't know how to do that. So I'm starting. Okay. To get all my pins here, I want to make sure that I haven't stitched over the other side. Oh. Did I? The stitch on the seam allowance? I did catch the other. Did I? I can't tell. I don't think I did. I think they're just really butted up together, but I don't think I sewed on the other piece. So I'm good there, okay? And now I'm gonna sew the other side. But what I can also do while I'm here, I also want to understitch here, okay? So that means I'm just gonna go over to the other side of where I was working, push all the seam allowance to the lining side and stitch down it until I get to, and you'll just see it. I'll be able to see where to stop, which is right there. So I'm on the other side of the vent I was just sewing. Here you can see my lining and you can see my fashion fabric. And I'm just going to understitch the lining. Okay. You want to make sure you don't catch. I want to make sure nothing weird is going to happen. No, I'm good. There's no other plies. You can just stop under stitching wherever you stop stitching. One more stitch and done. Okay. And trim all threads. You may have used. Excellent. Now that I've done this side, you notice how I'm clipping my threads anytime I finish sewing an area? Make sure you are participating in that. Okay. Now, I want to move on to my other side. Now this is going to be confusing because this is the side, this is like that cut inside. Okay, so this is the bottom of the vent, and then it goes. Can you see that? So this is the opposite side of the lining.
Would it be helpful if we like taped it, like one of the sides, so we know that goes with that side?
Tape what on
I always would put like a piece of blue tape and just know that this is right or wrong. Like, would it be
Yeah, you can do whatever.
tape it
tricks-
so we know that oh,
Whatever
this is left
tricks you
side,
need. Yeah,
like this left side.
whatever tricks you need. And now this one. Let me go dot cam for a second. So for the other one, I was essentially able, there's my cut side. It's flipped. Okay. I was like, why is this so weird for me? It's flipped. So for the other side, we were able to pretty much line everything up. Let me do this. For the other side, we were pretty much able to line everything up together because they were the same shape, right? So do you see how this whole area here just lines up nicely, right? But with this side, it's a little different. I have to find myself, sorry. I think I'm over here. There I am. With this side, it is a little different. So instead of, I don't have the same thing to line it up with. I have to line this cutout part in here with this, okay? So they're a little opposite. And so what I might want to do, I want this. What I might want to do, come on, be a good boy. It's like, no. There we go. What I might want to do is just make sure I know where 5/8 is. Both here and this way I see. Both there and up here. Because I want wherever it intersects, which is right there. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for. And I'm going to make sure because, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So that right there, that's my intersecting angle. Okay. You guys see that? where they meet, where this side and this side, where the stitching lines meet in the middle, in the corner. Do we get this? Okay. We'll take a little break in a second. Hello. So now I want to ensure and match these up together. So what I might want to do is put a needle through this lining hole. I'm going to put a pin through this lining hole. And then I want to make sure it comes out the other side where, again, essentially the corner point is there. And just push them together like so. That way I have it perfectly lined up. Okay. Right sides together. So this is my wrong side. This is my wrong side. So I have right sides together. Uh-oh. I didn't trim my threads on this one, so make sure you missed any thread trimming. Saving thread trimming for the end is bad. Okay. So now I have it all pinned out. I'm going to sew this way. Doesn't really matter, but now I'll have an easier control of where exactly I stop. Okay. Sewing at 5/8, I believe. Yeah. All right. Now I've sewn all the way to there. And now let's take a break, okay? Stop staring.
Thank you. That was awesome.
I'm gonna drink some Wawas outside. Pause.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Mark, is it okay that I'm using black like thread?
Yeah.
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 It was kind of light.
So up here, I'm not gonna fully put this out yet, but this is my zipper, right? And then this is the zipper pull. And then this little mess here, you know, this is kind of the beginning of the vent. And then we have the two sides that I was just stitching. You see that? So this is what we were just working on, right? Have this. Now, what I'm going to work on next, I am going to yeah. I'm going to understitch this side as well, because I didn't understitch this side yet, much like how I understitched this side, as you can see. And then we're going to work on connecting them. Got real nervous for a second. I was like, what did I do?
What did you think you did?
I don't know. Yeah, okay, this is okay. So move this back here. Just to make sure. So what I have, I kind of shake this. So if you're getting confused about which side is on top, which side is on bottom, for now, I can just kind of pull this over here. This is where this is. You'll see that there's like an overlap, right? So the vent I have, however wide I decided to make it, I think this is like 1.25 inches or something like that. And then this side will be fully under like so. So this side has like a facing, essentially.
The right side of the garment?
For me, this is my left side.
Okay.
I didn't really choose a side, to be honest. I don't think there's a dominant side, and if there is, I don't care.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. There might be some rule like, oh, for a women's vent, to always faces left. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. Right? So as you can see, this side goes over this side. Now, let me have. No, no. Just because sometimes it's like too close. Okay. So this is my side that overlaps right here. And this is the bottom side. It could go the other way. Does it go the other way? It does go the other way. My bad. This is my side. So it's my right side, you're right. Sorry, I was getting a little mixed up. This is the side because this is the side that I understitched, right? So the side also, the side like this, the side that matches, not the side with the cutout, that's your bottom side. The side with the cutout. So this is the side with the cutout right here. Hold on. No, I'm confusing myself. I'm sorry. All right, hold on. Sorry. Wait a second. Where are you? Yeah, this is the. Yes, okay. Yes. No?
But I'm not the only one.
Hold on. Oh my God.
experiences this.
Sorry. I'm like, what is happening right here? Okay. We get confused, flip it inside out. That helps. I also need to cut one side, or I need to clip one thing. I'll show you in a second what that is.
You're gonna get confused, I'm sure.
Hold on.
Way
worse.
hold on,
We're done.
hold on. This side here. This side. That's so. Yes. Okay. So the overlap I have is on the right side. And that is, which one? Is that the cutout? Or is that not the cutout? It is the cutout piece. So the cutout side is the side that has a facing. It's going to be like this. And it overlaps like so. I'm sorry, everyone. That took me a second. I was like, wait, these are playing tricks with my brain. So again, the cutout side of the lining, that's what allows you to have the facing, which is always the outside layer. Okay. Does that make sense now?
Say it one more time.
The right side or the-
It's whatever side has the cutout
Is on top.
is on top.
Okay.
Whatever side has the cutout of the lining is on top. Now I am going to top stitch this. And if you get confused, you might want to mark it or something, but I'm just for now going to top stitch this. Yeah. Or I should say I'm understitching, essentially. The other vent. Flip it now. Okay. Did I do this stitching up here this time? Yes. Okay. So I've clipped it now. And now what I want to do, I want to open it up a little bit. So I'm going to clip. Let me go back to dot cam. And again, if you're getting confused, put a pin on the one that's the top somewhere. So for instance, I'm going to just like put a pin on this side, just so I know which one is my top layer, okay? Just so I know which vent it is. I'm gonna open it up. So this one is on the top. And what I'm going to be getting is I want to on the bottom side. So you're going to end up laying more or less like this, okay? Here's my facing. Do you see my facing? And then, so this is the top side. This is the inside one, right? You can tell because it doesn't have a facing. Does this make sense? When you look at the seam allowance inside of the body fabric, you're going to want to clip here just on one side, just on the underside. So I'm going to clip here, more or less to the stitching. That's just so that the center back seam can fully open. Okay, you see that? Fully open center back seam. And it's going to help everything. It's going to help everything lie much easier because now I'm not going to have the fabric essentially always attempting to pull itself to one side. It can just lay flatter. Okay. And if you need to take that and press that again, which I think I need to real fast. Mine being a little. I'm just doing that little part. So once I've clipped this, okay, this part, I don't know if I have a good way to show you necessarily how this is going to go, but let's do first things first. So this is the bottom side. I know that. I am going to press it along here. Okay, I'm going to press this so it's nice and flat. Okay. So let me take this over to the iron. I'll come and show you what I did in person since I think it's a little hard sometimes to tell the camera. So the bottom layer I have now pressed. So it's nice. You can see the understitch lining right there. The bottom layer, right? Okay. Nice understitch lining, bottom layer. You good? Yeah. So, like I said, we have this is our bottom layer here, and we have the understitch lining, and you can see for the understitch layer, you can see that it's been pressed, so it's nice and thin, and I pressed it down here as well. So now for this side, for the top layer, what I do want to do, I want to make sure I know like how wide my facing is supposed to be. So you can do that just by measuring across this channel. I'm going to measure across this channel, which is, you know, the little, this is where they meet. This is where they overlap. Do we understand what I'm looking at right now? It's like we're, yeah. So it's, we're looking at this right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
looking at that. So what I want to do now, usually you would want to just know how wide it was, but this is pretty accurate. So this is about 1.5 inches wide vent. Okay. So I'm going to measure over you can position the stuff as needed. Okay. And that's from where my lining hits. So it's 1.5 inches over from where my lining hits. So I'm going to go ahead and just measure and mark. Oh, this is not a water soluble crayon, so it's fun. But this is going to be folded, so I'm not going to worry too much about it, Mom. Sorry. Did anyone feel like they connected very well with their parents over the pandemic?
Mhm.
Yeah, we made strides over the pandemic. It helps when you have no one else to talk to. So down here, I'm marking 2 1/8 because now I'm going from the direct cut edge of the fabric, which is different from the edge of where this lining was, right? Or I could just draw straight down from this line, but I don't have a ruler on me right now. Does that make sense? So I'm just making do. Okay, now I can take this over to my iron and I'm gonna press it along this line. Does that make sense? I could move the camera, but it's like the first day and I'm already like lazy.
One of us.
Yeah.
You mean about that? Oh, I mean, all right now.
Sometimes when you want a really nice press, you just need to hold the iron on one spot for a while. Then don't slide it, drop it, pick it up, move it to the next spot, wait, pick it up, next spot, wait.
A really bad iron.
I use a
Um,
book sometimes just to
These
put
irons are
pressure
so
on it.
nice.
Yeah, these irons are
I was
wonderful.
gonna
Yeah.
say that too. Our irons are really nice here.
You can get a really great like gravity fed iron for probably like, I don't know, $70 maybe. Which maybe that sounds like a lot, but
It's called gravity. What?
yeah, gravity fed. So do you see how that one has like the weird, like the cables and stuff?
Mhm.
Yeah, except like the one I have at home. So the water tank is under that one, I believe.
Oh,
But the one I have at home, like I have a hanging thing and then I have like all those little tubes and stuff.
oh.
So you have to affix it to like, doesn't have to be to your ceiling, although mine's to my ceiling. But you can affix it to, I don't know.
That's why the ironing board has that metal thing.
Yeah. Well, that's like a
The
base in
cord,
case you
actually,
have
that's
like
for the
a,
cords, yeah.
yeah. So as you can see, I've pinned this just so it stays, really. That's what I'm doing, okay? Because I need to make sure that I know exactly, that I have everything oriented the way I want it. Okay? 'Cause I don't want to sew the wrong thing. Okay, so this is nice, Cool. Now what I want to do. Let's see. Other thing I'm going to clip on this one, okay, on the outside vent piece, the one that's cut out, right? You see where the marks are, where I like drew where the vertices were? So like the pink is right. There you go, center of the stream, right here. We're also going to clip this. So that way we'll have flexibility because we're supposed to pivot it. Okay. And we're going to end up sewing both pieces of lining. This one also needs to get clipped. Oh, okay. Forgot about these. Okay. Here's a little step for you that I didn't talk about that we're just kind of jam in real fast. I'll do it on the over here, just so it's on the video. All right. So you have, this is upside down. I think. You have your lining pieces, right? Now, what you want to do is, it's great if you do a little stay stitch at 5/8. Oh, wait. Yep. At 5/8, right where these corners are. Those corners, right? I think those corners, yeah. It's great because you're gonna have to end up clipping into them like so. And that way you can like clip into them, spread them open, and you don't have to worry about raveling. Does that make sense? Or going past the cut. Okay, does that make sense, everyone? So I'm gonna do that real fast. Over here. I think we're gonna have like an hour of left today.
Are you able, is this being recorded or to show, or is it on that screen?
Oh.
I didn't know if that meant it wasn't being recorded.
Oh.
No, don't say.
Sorry.
Oh, it is work. Cool.
No, it's just, you're right. Like it's only recording what's on the screen.
Okay.
So all the stuff we done close up, I'm glad you were all in here. Sorry, man.
Oh, my muscle, my memory is not
I
gonna
know.
serve.
I'm sorry. Growing pains, right?
I didn't even have a phone like when I first started. Their phones weren't even built to hold like a long video to watch a professor. Like I did not have any of that. Like it was.
Yep. Yeah, when I took advanced, oh God. You just watch this and that's all you get.
Yeah.
That was 10 years ago, Sonny. I really need a gridded ruler. Oh, so anyone have a gridded ruler? Anyone want to help me out?
Yeah.
Thank you. Beautiful. I know that IT guy can make the ladybug show up on the screen. I just wasn't thinking about it at the time, you know what I mean?
It's the ladybug.
It's this little red projecting friend.
Oh.
That is not right. Anyone have a pencil sharpener? Yeah. No.
Oh, it's blue, huh?
I'll go check this. Oh, there's one right. No. Okay.
I have white chalk.
Yeah. That was... Thank you.
So if you show up on a ladybug right now, it's not gonna be recorded or,
Yeah, pretty much.
okay.
That is correct. Thank you. Yeah, the ladybug, I wasn't thinking about it at the time. He was like, it doesn't show up on the screen. And I was like, okay, that's not a big deal. Like, as long as they can see it on there, right?
So what wasn't being recorded?
It's the last bit.
Whatever was on the screen. So it was just here.
Oh, okay, that's good, that's good. That's
You
good
can
news.
hear me.
Yeah.
You can hear me. But anything we did like up when I'm standing up there was not, it was recorded, but you don't see
I
that.
thought it was everything that was like being sewn, so
No. It's everything up there.
better. That's good news.
Make sure I don't stitch on anything important. Do not do that. This is tough to do right now, obviously, because I have a bunch of stuff intertwined. Go down a little bit farther. Yep. Stitch length to 0. Just to lock in that stitch. Very important, especially when you're cutting into a corner. Like, incredibly important. What did I just do? What? Yeah. I caught the seam allowance. All right. So now, what I'm going to be doing I have to find my way. Let's do some zoomies. There we go. So now what I need to do Oh, I missed that. So I want to get in to here in the middle, okay? I need both. So essentially I have both of my fashion fabric pieces together, and I have both my lining pieces together, even though they're all kind of flipped around. So I have kind of right sides together of my fashion fabric pieces. Okay, I have right sides together of my lining pieces. Okay, and then they're kind of like, then they're wrong, like on the inside, it's wrong side to wrong side of lining to fashion fabric. Let me go around and just show you that. You can see I have my bottom pieces together, right? Like so. And then I have my lining pieces together here. I'm prepping to sew across here. So I'm trying to get both of these pieces together like so. And I'm gonna end up sewing like I'm sewing that way. So I have fashion fabric pieces together like so, right? So they're face to face right now. Okay, so my zipper's up here, right? My fashion fabric pieces are together. This is that little bridge or whatever. Okay, and then my lining pieces are currently face to face right here. And so I'm gonna position them so that way, you know, this one is gonna go up here. Oh, what's happening? Oh, okay. So that's, oh, I didn't need to put that one. Is this one need to put? I do need to put that one, whatever, it's fine. So this one, right, I'm gonna end up sewing. I'm gonna end up sewing basically all of them together here to here. This one ends up pivoting like so, and also pivoting and sewing there. And then I think it goes up like so. But we're gonna end up sewing across, okay? So it's all layers together from here to here that we end up sewing together from here to where that where they go up together. I know you're thinking.
I'm probably gonna have to go back to that.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. I feel bad.
So, okay. So these pieces are currently together, right? Right here, like the fashion fabrics together. These pieces aren't. But we're gonna, you can even think of doing it like one at a time. Maybe I need to switch that on. But this one, easily you can see how easy it is for this one to be sewn from here to essentially where that little, where my little corner is, right? So imagine stitching across from there to there, and that's it. Okay. This one also, you know, it's kind of like weird right now. It would be sewn from there to there. Okay. So maybe you need to do, yeah, one at a time. Let me, don't leave, stay right there. So when in doubt. When in doubt. Two. And what we end up with, so right now it's pinned from there to there. You see that? And then our last step, this one's kind of awkward, the top one's kind of awkward, so it sort of just has to, we are going to click to I'll go with this. But basically, then these can just be sewn together. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, so then these just be sewn together. So we're sewing from here to here. And then the lining will come back in and we'll sew the linings together. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can we sew the
I mean, you can always sew anything by hand, but just for the, because the strength also matters.
Yeah.
So like the machine strength is better in this instance. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so, oh, not there. Just so zoom nose. Our zippers right here. Our bent pieces are down here. All we're sewing is we're overlapping everything on the bottom, just so we can sew that little piece right there. How do I get that for you?
Yeah. how do you get
I
there?
think you just like fold one side over. Yeah, and there you are. Here I am. Yes, if you want to sew, it's always a better idea to sew one layer at a time. So, and what I would do, what I'm going to do, I'm going to sew one at like, when I sew this first one down, I'm going to sew it at like half an inch instead of 5/8. So it's kind of basted down. And then when I go over with the top one, I'll sew that at 5/8.
Is that gonna be trouble when we wanna finish our seams?
Uh,
Is that gonna be trouble when we wanna finish our seams, or will it be fine?
you're not finishing those things.
Oh, okay. It's all on the inside?
Yeah, it's all interior.
Gotcha.
The only seams you want to focus on finishing are like your side seams and like maybe the zipper seam, depending on how ravelly it is. I'm gonna go ahead and sew this one down. I said at about half of an inch. So I sewed my first layer. I don't know if you can tell, but you want to make sure that you're not sewing past, right? You don't want to go beyond any of these layers. And apparently, it's like 3/4 of an inch or something. What did I do there? What did I do? Okay, so for whatever reason, I'm at 3/4 here where I stitched it, okay? So I want to keep that in mind because I don't want to have it loose. So now that I sewed that one.
You want like all the points to me.
You want to be maybe like a little inside of this. You don't want to go outside. I want to be like a little inside. So if
And this is your base.
it, no, this is right here. This is my outside stitch. So I want to be a little inside of it. Okay. So, if you do need to stitch on the top side, that's not a bad idea, as long as you just really securely pin your lining there. Okay. So I think I'm going to do that just so I know I'm successful here, because there's a lot going on back there. And I could have probably done the first one like that as well.
Just amazes me how we put this fabric together and like that leftover pieces that we didn't sew. Look, we have to still sew them. It's just amazing.
Oh. I just got a little pucker. This is why I don't like sewing lining bottom side. I got a little snag. You see, that's gonna, I don't like that. This is why I don't like sewing with the lining on the bottom side. It moves a lot. So I have a little snaggeroo. A little snag.
Are you gonna see it when you flip it inside out?
So I have a little snag, right?
So you're gonna just,
Well, let's take a look how it looks. Now, I will say, I don't leave snags, and when I sew, it's really bad to leave snags. But let's just curiously look at what we have. So see that right there?
yeah.
It's my little snag. So the fabric is going to like that. So chances are you will not see this snag, I will say, but I don't want you guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's really bad to leave a snag.
Isn't it inside? Does it matter? Outside?
You want your inside as beautiful as your outside. So like for me, 8 something. So, I usually will not leave a snag. I'm debating right now.
My question
Could
is
you
like,
just
it's not
clip
gonna
one?
show it outside.
It's a snag, so you can't clip it.
Oh.
What?
So it's not gonna show.
It's not gonna show
outside.
because
Oh.
this is the lining.
Oh.
No, but I want us to understand that you still want your lining pretty. You know what I mean? You want someone to open this up and be like, oh my God. And especially when this is all done, this seam line here is pretty impressive looking. You know what I mean? So you don't really want to mess it up with a weird, you know what I mean? It looks bad. It really looks bad. So I am gonna fix mine.
You are perfectionist.
I mean, that's the goal, right? That's the goal. Use more pins if you really need to secure something. I'm gonna turn it this way just so I can really have control. stitching.
So why can't you sew it on the lining side?
I can, but I don't, I mean, I'd have to make sure I knew exactly where this ends. It's just easier this way for me to know, like, that's exactly where I'm going. Okay. And let's just take a look at how it looks. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So now once I, do the whole, once I do the zipper part, oh, no, whatever. It's supposed to go further. Yeah, we're supposed to go further. I'm not gonna worry about that today. Okay. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna finish off for today. Okay, we'll worry about the zipper part later, okay? We'll worry about that later.
So we're done with that skirt for today?
We're done with that skirt for today. The vent is kind of a monster.
Yeah.
So event is kind of like its own. We did zipper to lining and we did vent. That's enough. And we did the hem. That's enough for me.
Okay, I take something.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I did not believe you at first. You're like, oh, but that's not fun.
It's-
I was like, oh, it'll be easy breezy.
Right. I also have a little video up from some other women on the vent page that I'll unlock.
Great.
It's okay. It's not bad actually. Like the same steps. It's just hers is a little easier because she didn't have like a zipper above it.
And also she had like different colors for the lining.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of time now.
It's just white and white.
Advance. Oh. While I die. Just hang out with Chastity.
I'm sorry?
I'll just hang out with Chastity.
I know.
How are you doing?
I think I'm doing okay, actually. Okay.
No, but I've never used sewing machines.
Okay.
All of the sewing classes I've taken here.
Me neither. Okay, so. No,
I
it's not-
tried.
Okay, so I did get the
Oh, good.
top one. I got my 2 inches. Yeah, my question here is,
You
what
wanna
do
get
I
that?
do with this?
Yeah, you
Take
wanna-
this
yeah,
out too,
yeah.
is that standard? I would always do that, okay. All
Because you're
right,
just doing your side seams.
yes,
So this counts as your side.
that's, okay,
The whole thing.
thank you. And I guess the part that confuses me is like, is it just side seam on actually like outside fabric, or is it just
Both,
side seam
both,
on? Okay,
both.
okay, thank you. So then I just need to get that on the other side, because I've done it here, and I'm gonna snap that little piece
Right.
off, and then I did this piece here. So, and I was okay. And once I do this part, what's next?
So then you're gonna do the outside section.
Oh, I
My
have to do
kids
the
keep
outside
on
thing.
taking
Oh,
me.
man,
What
it's
kind
like
of
a
chips
whole
are they?
construction project. Okay, so I will be, so when I do the outside seam, I'm just gonna start, I guess, what, from here and then.
Yeah,
just
I love
go
it.
all the
But
way
like,
down
I'm
the
like,
skirt
yeah,
on both sides. Okay, got it. Thank you.
But you're gonna eat them eventually?
Yes, eventually, that's the problem. Mark. Can I grab a
Let me
roll?
just pause this, keep talking.
Can I grab a roll? I don't know.
Thank you, computer. Like sci-fi. So first of all, you wanna turn it inside out, ideally. And
Are you gonna?
do want it inside out because but this does French seam. But the reason you want it inside out is because you want to be able to feel exactly what the seam is. Okay, because if it's right side in, then it's kind of like it's not like this seam. Some people kind of like roll in itself. And like, right, correct. So, fast.
But
Now, here's one thing. So see how this back side of this is on it?
these are, yeah, I did little,
If it's right there. But I didn't, when we find the center, it's like shoulder seam or side seams together. And, you know, if you put them together, bring this up like that. Whoever that fits is 50% of that. And you would do that at the same.
right now.
I'm going to teach you to adjust the same. Because I'm only going to copy.
Kind of, this is kind of like really flimsy, so I think I might cut this out again.
You're gonna do the short skirt. I know.
So
Yeah, and I added 2 inches.
this is my. And then this is actually gonna go. Smooth. What I want to do. Better to dull. And I just want to start. You're gonna kind of need a lift and look. Start just by using pound. You have to put it flat. Kind of rub.
Oh my god.
Center first and work.
You did?
Way. Yeah, so that. Okay. And I'm only gonna do that.
Yeah, I didn't, they all
No way.
Yeah.
Like,
And if it's a straight, kind of like
went,
the
yeah,
back,
it's like, they went
Really,
to
you can just do the
Friday,
top.
and there's like.
oh,
okay, you know, like feel where the seam is. So I'm using the speaker kind of feel. And then. And if I notice that here, there's like a little collar. So in this instance, I'm not gonna copy.
oh my god. Always wanna look at that, like, even like,
And
taping or, like,
Yeah, so yeah, my girlfriend.
so this is the seam allowance, but the seam is right up here. See that?
practice at first without the lit. Or
Yeah.
would you just go?
Use
I
my
made my own.
tricks like that.
Straight up made, because I wanted to buy one when I got home too.
Yeah, that's like,
So I made my own, and then my girlfriend
This
does.
is a French seam, so this is just the seam.
And then I started
Completely
making.
different. And then, you know, keep checking. I like to peel up.
you're like
I'm like a virgin.
really, good at like.
That helps you figure out where it is. You can do it, you know. And then in a second, I'm gonna get
Can't help it.
underarm.
Be nice.
It's really good if you have like that.
I'm like going down the grocery aisle. Like, I'm probably gonna talk to you.
So when I get to the underarm,
This year. All that.
underarm, I just wanna make sure it's really nice.
Stop what?
Your logo could have
I'm
helped.
not gonna try to stretch it.
No, so no,
Oh, she's 17.
she's 17, so she'll be she's a senior this year. And then she'll go to like Maricosta or something, and then transfer. I think.
Yeah.
She's so little. She's
It is part of our.
Oh my gosh,
cost-
Miniature. I always thought I was.
I'm not-
She's like cutest.
You wanna check your work, like, if things are looking off. Like, you're gonna have the seam too far away. Across the top, right? That's the- There. How's my center back piece? Now, one thing I'll say, like, this.
I can see the same vibes.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
You wanna make sure that this line would be straight, this would be straight. If you have like a.
Just like the dark
where it's like.
Yes.
that very form
Yes.
right there. I'm actually gonna steal that for a second. Is this your very form curve?
Yeah.
Maybe zero
Yeah.
points. This is a very form curve. It's very like VAR. Something like this. Yeah. It's like it could.
Just wanna.
So in this instance, right.
No, it's like
lane. You can knock off your skirt. And then.
We're working with
If it's
like
like creasing, right?
Adobe like
Because. Then
these to
just kind of knock on.
Yeah, no, I got the Lightroom tablet and it's like giving me
Oh.
3 months of like access to Lightroom or something else, like, and I thought, oh my God, I need someone who knows how to use it so I can do like
You
dancing
gotta use
videos.
that in
and
like
then-
Illustrator.
And
And the only thing you have to worry about is like.
say it again.
you make sure that-
You gotta use the tablet.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm using it for. I'm retaking like,
I have like a CAD class for like. It's like,
The green line is keep it right.
so it's like really amazing. I took that.
okay, maybe I'll retake that. There's certain
Oh,
classes
that's
I
the
already
side.
take that. Yeah, I've taken them all, but like I've been
Green
in
line.
school for a while because my daughter and her disability, so I've taken like 1 class, 2 classes, and then I finally got my AA. But now I just feel like it's wasting my time getting my AA, taking like.
Or if you're trying to use it, that's you. And you have to add your own stuff.
I could just. So instead outside, you get like little certificates like these.
I mean, I'm getting.
So, so when is the
I'm a certificate.
Because it gives you a little more. Oh, this is too big, it's too
I could
small.
go, I'm ready to work, but
The screen's more like Apple.
I don't want to get.
And then, you have to determine whatever your M size is gonna be. right? Not like too much. You would have to. Anyway, that's a knot. There, you are sure.
You know.
I'm so nervous, I just want to work.
Yeah, so like, I have to do all the pieces. Like, I have to use my math.
I think I'm nervous because Kendra requires like all of me right now, not until she's gone. When I, and she was just born with no biceps, so she can't like actively bend her elbow, so I help her shower, I help her dress, I help her go on the potty, like you wouldn't even tell, like she wears leg braces.
Really?
Yeah, like she's had 8
She looks like a
surgeries.
superstar.
Yeah, she's had 8 surgeries this year, like we fly to Philadelphia to a hospital. for surgery.
Yeah, you wanted to do this part.
Like next year, I'll be there for 3 months, because she'll be 1. So I'm like, I know,
At least it's keep good and I get
Yeah,
jobs all the time. And I'm just hungry. I just go to school, trying to be home, just nice to learn. Like I sew.
Does she have another surgery scheduled?
Yeah. Right. We've been on a waiting list for like 4 years to see these doctors and
And so I usually, I'm like, probably just.
that is weird.
It's like I never get like, I never cut, they cut free, and I'm just like, oh, I still got kids together, and I'm like, God, if anything got anything, like, I don't even have like a real piece, so this helps.
Are you gonna take pattern making?
Yeah, I hadn't decided on it, the only reason is because there was this lady where I was trying to like, when I wanted to make my own jeans, and I spent like 7 hours with her, and I just, like, nothing was completed. I was like, what are we doing right now?
Lindsay's pattern making class is pretty like well paced, and it's like it's fun enough. Like it's not, well, you have to do the work,
Yeah.
but it's only like maybe an hour and a half of homework a night or like a week. So it's really fun because you just like pull out the supplies and you just like cut the paper and you do the
Okay.
thing. But she does it in like
It's spelled, okay.
yeah. And then there's other classes that help build on that too. Like the knitwear class, I think is like a really good like second pattern making class.
What class?
Knits.
Knits. Okay.
The knits, swimwear, and something else.
I did see that.
So that one's great because like, so with Lindsay, basically you start with like a template. And you just use the template, like a bodice template, front, back, a sleeve. And then skirt front, skirt back. From there you can make it. But Laura's, she like, you make your little template essentially, and then she has all kinds of stuff. Patterns. It's like the other side. Okay. So when we go to the six, then with like kind of knit class, you get it there. Like, oh God, I want the sleeve. This is how.
I want to transfer to Long Beach.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have like
Oh.
6 classes to take. So I'm like in that debating thing, like.
I teach that next
go or not
You
go. I
do.
still have 6 transfer classes. So I'm just taking
Oh,
this right now for fun because I haven't sewn in a while.
Fashion
And
You've
then.
already taken this
132.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Well,
I'll
not
take it.
here, but
Thank you.
I'm
You're
taking a
welcome.
fine dressmaking class. But I just haven't sewn. So I just wanted
This
to.
is getting you back in the
Yeah.
groove.